My mom keeps guilt-tripping me for refusing to babysit my special needs brother every weekend, straining my job, relationship, and friendships. Fed up, I finally said no, sparking a family blowout. Now I'm torn between duty and reclaiming my life. Hey everyone, my name's Elise, and I'm 28 years old. I've been lurking on Reddit for a while, but this is my first time posting here because I'm honestly at my wit's end and need some outside perspective. I'm stuck in this messy situation with my family, and I don't know if I'm being unreasonable or if I've got a right to feel the way I do. So here's the deal. My mom keeps blaming me for refusing to babysit my younger brother, Felix, every single weekend. He's 16 now, and he's got some special needs that make things complicated. I love him to death, don't get me wrong, but this whole thing is driving a wedge between me and my mom, and it's starting to spill over into other parts of my life too. Let me back up and give you some context so you can see where I'm coming from. Growing up, it was just me, Felix, mom, and dad. My parents split when I was 10, and dad's been pretty much out of the picture since then. He sends a check every month, but that's about it. Mom raised us on her own, and I'll give her credit. She worked her butt off to keep us fed and housed. Felix was diagnosed with autism when he was 4, and it's the kind that's pretty severe. He's nonverbal, has a lot of sensory issues, and needs someone with him pretty much all the time because he can't be left alone. He's a sweet kid, though, loves music, especially anything with a heavy beat, and he's got this goofy laugh that'll melt your heart if you catch him on a good day. Me, I was the older sister who stepped up early. By the time I was 12, I was helping mom with Felix, changing diapers, calming him down during meltdowns, making sure he didn't wander off when we went out. Mom worked long hours at a nursing home, so I got used to being the second adult in the house. I didn't mind back then, it was just what needed to be done. But now that I'm older, moved out, and trying to build my own life, it feels like mom still expects me to be that same kid who's always on call. Here's where the main issue starts. About a year ago, I got a new job as a graphic designer. It's remote, which is awesome, but it's also demanding, tight deadlines, late-night revisions, the works. I moved into a small apartment about 30 minutes from mom's place, and for the first time, I felt like I was getting some breathing room. That didn't last long, though. Mom started asking me to take Felix on weekends. At first, it was every couple of weeks, and I was fine with it. I'd bring him over, we'd watch movies, I'd make him his favorite mac and cheese, and it was nice to hang out. But then it turned into every weekend. Like, without fail, she'd call me up on Friday afternoon and say, "Can you take Felix? I need a break." I get it, she's tired. Raising Felix alone isn't easy, and she's in her mid-50s now, so I know it's harder on her than it used to be. But every weekend, I started pushing back a little, saying I had work or plans, and that's when the guilt trips kicked in. She'd say stuff like, "I didn't raise you to be selfish, Elise," or "He's your brother. Don't you care about him?" It cuts deep because I do care, but I also can't keep putting my life on hold. Last month, I finally put my foot down and said no outright, and she lost it. She called me ungrateful, said I owed her for everything she's done for me, and even brought up how she sacrificed her whole life for us. Now she's barely speaking to me unless it's to throw some passive-aggressive jab my way. That's the big problem, but there's more going on that's making this messy. First off, my best friend Talia is involved now, and it's causing some tension between us. Talia is 29, super chill, and the kind of person who'll drop everything to help you out. She's known me since high school and gets how intense my family stuff can be. A few months ago, she offered to help with Felix sometimes. Like, she'd come over and hang out with us so I wouldn't be doing it alone. I thought it was sweet, and mom was all for it at first. But then mom started calling Talia directly, asking her to take Felix when I said no. Talia is too nice to say no outright, but I can tell it's stressing her out. Last week, she told me she feels stuck in the middle and doesn't know how to tell my mom to back off without making it weird. I feel awful because I never wanted her dragged into this. Then there's my boyfriend, Dorian. He's 30, works as a mechanic, and he's honestly the most patient guy I've ever met. We've been together for 2 years, and he's great with Felix. Knows how to keep him calm. Even built him a little sensory toy out of spare parts once. But lately, he's been getting frustrated, and I don't blame him. Our weekends used to be our time, date nights, road trips, or just chilling at home. Now, if I'm not with Felix, I'm fighting with mom about why I'm not with Felix, and it's killing our vibe. Dorian hasn't said it outright, but I can tell he's starting to resent how much this is taking over. Last weekend, we had plans to go hiking, and Mom called me crying about needing a break. I told her no, and Dorian was relieved, but then I spent the whole hike feeling guilty instead of enjoying it. He noticed and said, "Elise, I love you, but you've got to figure this out. I can't keep sharing you with your mom's drama." On top of that, there's this other layer with my job. My boss has been hinting that I could take on bigger projects, maybe even get a raise, but I've been dropping the ball lately. When I'm with Felix, I can't focus on work. He needs too much attention, and if he's having a rough day, I'm lucky to get an hour of peace. Last week, I missed a deadline because Felix had a meltdown and I couldn't get him settled. I had to lie to my boss and say I was sick, which I hate doing. I'm terrified this is going to tank my career just when it's starting to take off. So here's how it all came to a head. 2 weekends ago, Mom called me on Friday, same as always, asking me to take Felix. I'd had a brutal week at work, and Dorian and I had plans to just stay in and decompress. I told her no, said I needed a break too, and she went off. She said, "You think you're the only one who's tired? I've been doing this for 16 years, Elise. You don't get to play the victim." I tried to stay calm and said I wasn't trying to play anything. I just couldn't do it every weekend. She hung up on me, and the next day, she texted me this long rant about how I've abandoned the family and how Felix deserves better than a sister who can't be bothered. I didn't respond because I didn't know what to say. Then Talia called me, sounding all frazzled, and said Mom had asked her to take Felix instead. Talia went over there, but she told me later it was a nightmare. Felix was having a bad day, and Mom didn't even stick around to help her get him settled. Talia's mad at Mom now, but she's also kind of mad at me for not handling it better. Meanwhile, Dorian's been quiet all week, and I can feel him pulling back. Yesterday, Mom left me a voicemail saying she's done asking, and that I need to step up or stop pretending I'm part of this family. I haven't called her back yet. I keep replaying it all in my head. I know Felix isn't the problem. He didn't ask for any of this. But I feel like Mom's put me in this impossible spot where I'm either the perfect daughter who sacrifices everything or the selfish jerk who doesn't care. Growing up, I saw how hard it was for her, and I don't want to make her life harder. There were nights she'd come home from work crying, and I'd hear her on the phone begging Dad to help out, but he never did. I remember thinking I'd never let her down like he did. But now, it's like she's holding that over me. Like because she struggled, I don't get to have my own life. I talked to my coworker about it the other day, just venting over coffee, and she said maybe I should offer to take Felix 1 weekend a month instead of every time. I tried suggesting that to Mom last night over text, and she replied, "1 weekend? That's all he's worth to you." I didn't even know how to answer that. It's not about his worth. It's about me not drowning. The guilt's eating me alive, though. Felix doesn't have anyone else. Mom's got no family nearby, and the respite care programs around here have wait lists a mile long. I keep thinking about him sitting at home, bored out of his mind, while I'm trying to live my life. But then I think about my own future, my job, Dorian, maybe even starting a family someday. And I don't know how I'm supposed to balance it all. Talia says I need to set boundaries, but every time I try, it blows up in my face. Dorian says he'll support me whatever I decide, but I can tell he's tired of the chaos. I've been staring at this screen for an hour, trying to figure out what to do. I don't want to lose my mom or Felix, but I also don't want to lose myself. I keep wondering if I'm being too harsh, if I should just suck it up and take Felix more often. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe this is what family's supposed to be like, and I'm the one who's out of line. I see people on Reddit all the time talking about family stuff, and it makes me wonder if I'm missing something here. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Am I the one screwing up? Am I being selfish for wanting my own space? Or is it okay to say no sometimes? I just need to know what you all think because I'm so lost right now.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our daily updates.